Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and Merry Christmas. My name is Reverend Kris Alexander, and I'm the senior minister here at Celebration Center. And I am so grateful to be joining you on this glorious Christmas morning for just a little meditation and message, something a little different today to just allow us the time and energy to celebrate the holidays in whatever way that looks like for you, whether you celebrate Christmas or another tradition, or even just to rest and relax. So settle in. You're at home this morning. Settle in with your PJs, your warm drink, and get ready for just a beautiful morning. So today, on this glorious Christmas morning, I want to talk to you about light. I know it's a little cliche to talk about light on the winter solstice, but there's just so many ideas, right? We look at Jesus, who we celebrate his birth on Christmas morning, but we look at him as the light. And all of these major world religions and people that we look at them as bright lights in our world. And what I think is really fascinating and what I love about our teaching about science of mind is that Ernest Holmes tells us that Jesus is not the great exception, but rather the great example. And this is true of all of them. This is true of Muhammad, of Buddha, of Jesus, of all of these prophets and teachers that have come before us, that they are not the exception, but rather the example. And so what Ernest Holmes says is, he says, God never had but one son. This son is being born at every season, in every place, through all races and in all nations. Every birth is a divine event. Every conception is immaculate. Every child who is born into the world represents the Son of the eternal God. Every child, every conception is immaculate. Every child is representative of that Christ consciousness that we look at when we say Jesus the Christ. What we're saying is that this man, Jesus, really showed us, he gave us an example of what it can look like when we don't dim our light. And so that's why I want to talk about light today, is because we are celebrating the birth of somebody who figured out how to not dim their light. And there aren't many of us who have done that. Like I said, just a few prophets and teachers that have come before us. But for the most part, most of us who are living on this planet, having this human experience, have allowed our light to be dimmed just a little bit. And so I want to tell you a Hawaiian story today. It's the Hawaiian story of the bowl of light. So what the Hawaiians believe is that we are all born holding a bowl of light. This bowl of light cannot be diminished. It cannot go out. The light can't be dimmed. It can't be turned off. We just simply are holding a bowl of light. Now, while the light cannot be diminished or turned off or taken away or extinguished or anything like that, what does tend to happen is that we put stones on top of our light. So we have this beautiful bowl of light, and as we grow, we begin to put, false beliefs. Here's a stone on top of our bowl of light, or judgments, or upset, or guilt, or shame, or anger, or frustration, or whatever it is. And so pretty soon our bowl of light, it's still a bowl of light. However, it's also filled up with these stones. And so it may appear that the light is diminished. And yet the truth is that the light is still shining in that bowl just as brightly as it was when there were no stones on top of it. And so the story ends by saying that there's nothing that you have to do to go seek out or search or find your bowl of light. All you have to do is just simply tip it over. And let those rocks, those stones that you have collected and accumulated, let them fall to the ground. And suddenly your bowl of light is shining just as brightly as it always has, because in truth, none of those things, the shame, the guilt, the judgments, the wrong beliefs, the trials, the struggles, the mistakes, none of it can dim our light. We simply are the light. That is who and what you are. There's nothing that you can do to change that, no matter how many stones you may pile on top of that bowl. And so, what I think is that on Christmas morning, as we're celebrating this man who figured out how to hold his bowl of light without adding any stones to it, what I believe we are being called to do this morning is to simply tip our bowl over, to allow all of those stones to fall away so that we are left holding nothing but our light. Now, something else, I heard this a long time ago and I finally found the quote again, and I'm so excited to share it with you because this is one of my favorite ideas as we're talking about Jesus being the divine example, not the divine exception. We hear this sort of idea that God begot his own son, right? And so Master Eckhart actually said, God never begot but one son, but the eternal is forever begetting the only begotten. The eternal is forever begetting the only begotten because there is only oneness. And so since we are all the light and the light is the oneness and there's only one thing going on, that forever, every single example, every action, every thought, every word, every deed, everything that you are doing is an example of the eternal forever begetting the only begotten. And how incredible is that? How amazing is that? How beautiful is that you are forever begetting the only begotten, and you are the only begotten that the eternal is forever begetting. There's nothing you can do to change that. And so Eric Butterworth takes this quote from Master Eckhart and he continues and says, God so loved you that God gave you that which is begotten only to God. I say it again, we are God's begotten children. The only difference between Jesus and the rest of us is that he realized it. Because it became his reality, he was able to evolve to that place of awareness where he knew that he was of God. And so that's it. That's all that being the light is. That's all that we are called here to do, is to take our bowl of light that we are already holding, to dump out all of those stones that we have accumulated over the years, and to simply let our light shine forth. That is what is being called to us and of us here on Christmas morning. And so I would love for you to join me in a meditation on your own light, that place within you that cannot be extinguished or diminished or forgotten or covered. Well, it can be covered, but it can't be forgotten. It can't be diminished. And I invite you to meditate as we uncover your light. And so if you are able and willing, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze, to take a few deep breaths, and to bring your consciousness inside of yourself, down into the very center of your being, wherever that may be located. Perhaps it's in your chest or your solar plexus or your belly. Perhaps it's in your thighs or the back of your arms, your hands or your feet. Just bring your awareness and attention to the very center of your being, that place where you feel most connected to your divine self. And there at the center of your being is your bowl of light. So I want you to just Imagine that bowl of light right now. Perhaps you can walk around it, look at it from all different angles, and notice it. What is that bowl of light made of? Your light is unique and individual just as you are, and therefore your bowl of light is unique and individual. Are there any symbols or patterns or designs on your bowl? Is it large or small? Is it hovering in midair, or is it being held up on some sort of pedestal or table? Perhaps it's just on the ground. Become intimately connected to and aware of this bowl of light that is seated at the very center of your being. And now I invite you to look inside of it. Notice any stones that are in there. Perhaps there's just some gravel or pebbles at the bottom, or perhaps there are some giant stones. Maybe it's a mix of all of it. Maybe there are so many stones that you can't even see the light in it yet. Or perhaps you can see it shining through the cracks in the pebbles and the stones and the gravel. There's no right or wrong, just noticing your own unique bowl of light. Now I invite you to pick up your bowl. Notice that even if it's huge or made of a really heavy metal, that you can easily pick up this bowl of light because it is your soul. It is the center of your being. And so you gently pick it up and hold it in your hands and just simply tip it over. You don't need to know what the rocks and stones are. You don't need to know what they stood for, how they got there, or who put them there, or when. You just simply tip it over and dump them all out. Hear them clatter and bang onto the ground, rolling away in all directions. And now raise your cup, your bowl back up and look inside of it. And notice that your light is shining so brightly. What color is your light? Is it a static shining forth, or are there waves and movement and motion? This light is individual and unique, just like you are as well, just like your bowl is. How does it make you feel to look at your own divinity in this way? Take a few deep breaths and simply bask in your own eternal light, your own individualized expression of spirit. Noticing all of the beautiful, intricate details. And when you feel ready, you can put your bowl back where it lives, inside of you, back on its pedestal, back on the grounds, back hovering in midair. And return to your physical body, wiggling fingers and toes, or giving yourself a little shake or a head roll. This place lives inside of you. It cannot be diminished or taken away. And at any time, you can go there, you can return into the center of your own being and witness your own light dump out your own bowl any of the little thoughts or ideas that have crept in over the day. This bowl of light is yours. Hmm. Breathe in that knowing and that truth as we say together, and so it is. So now we have a song for you from our beloved music director, Lynn Hollyfield.
There is always a light. When we are ready to see it. There is always a light. When we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise your eyes in the dark night, to climb this hill. Together we will. There is always your light in the dark. When we are ready to see it. There is always your light in the dark. When we are ready to be it. To see the light, let your be the light. To raise your eyes in the dark night. To climb this hill. Together we will. Shine your light in the dark. When we are ready to see it. There's always your light in the dark. When we are ready to be it. To see the light, let your bright heart raise your eyes in the dark night. To climb this hill. Together we will be light. Together we will. There is always your light in the dark. When we are ready to see it. There is always your light in the dark. When we are ready to be it. To see the light, let your be the light. To raise your eyes in the dark night. To climb this hill.
And so on this beautiful Christmas morning, I invite you to shine your light. Shine your light wherever you are, whether you are with family or friends or having a quiet day at home by yourself. Your light is always there, always available for you to shine it bright. And so I invite you to do so today in everything that you do, with everyone that you meet, and in every place that you go. I love you all. Merry Christmas.